Okay. You can. What's it called? It's recording now.
It's recording now.
But you can, what's it called? Chop it up and you can delete
Edit it.
this. This is being deleted.
Yes.
For future Mitch. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, what am I? Freaking magician. Or the Joker from that scene.
Chrissy the intern.
Yeah. Hey, you can't talk during the intro. This is my intro.
Sorry.
For everyone wondering, for everyone listening, probably wondering, why is Mitch's voice so squeaky and cheeky and so charming and attractive? Well, it's not Mitch. It's not Mitch with a voice simulator or something. He's not a bad mask killer from a bad horror movie. Anyway,
This is good.
you can't talk during the. You can't talk. What's that? Oh, now I look like an idiot. Mitch has been on mute the whole time. What? Now I look like an idiot. Unmute yourself. Talk.
I'm talking.
Don't talk during the intro. So, us here at Lanes, I'm saying us, not that I work here or anything. I am the hot intern. But we thought we'd change things up. Because even though Salty doesn't, or Mitch, as everyone likes to call him, I like calling him Salty, as Mitch, he doesn't have a voice simulator, but he does have something else. He has a birthday today. Don't you?
Can I talk?
No, you can't.
Correct.
He has a birthday. We thought we'd switch it up and kind of switch the mics and get to know the host, Mitch, for a little special edition birthday podcast. He put a volume thing down, which what volume? What did you put down?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's all
Don't
me.
talk. Until I introduce
It's
you.
a long intro.
I know, it's a super long intro, but that's what the people want. I've seen in the comments by some Bavarian.Christian dude that he wants a long intro. And long intros are the best thing in the world. Plus, I've never done this before, so I'm just rambling like it's a speech.
You're right.
One more thing, Mitch, before I can let you talk. I just want to say a nice little thing to start the podcast off. Hey, and Mitch wasn't expecting me to be nice straight away. 364 days of the year, I reckon Mitch wouldn't put himself first. He'd put everyone before him first, as a great friend. But today is about you, my friend. It's about you. Even though probably today you won't put yourself first. So, keen for... I don't know what to say now. What do you usually say? Roll the intro?
Without further ado, let's get
Without further ado... Wait, 1 second. Just shout out to Books and Gifts Direct.
Yep.
Our new sponsor. It's been a sponsor for a while, but I guess it's a new sponsor. The other day I needed books and gifts, and I thought, wait a minute. I know the exact place to go, so shout out to Books and Gifts Direct.
Yeah, it came up.
Roll the intro.
Welcome to another episode of the Lanes Podcast.
Okay, you can talk now. What's
can
up,
talk
Mitch?
now.
Yo,
Not a lot.
what's
Not
it?
a lot.
How's
Not a
it
lot.
feel? How's it feel being on the other side of the mic, even though you're on the same side of the table usually?
It actually doesn't feel feels pretty similar, to be quite honest. It doesn't really feel any different, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah, it's still, I'm still on the mic, I'm still talking, I'm still doing the same stuff, really.
Yeah. Just to clarify, I've said this I think twice now.
Yep.
First podcast I've hosted, so I will be extremely horrible.
Yeah, first podcast you hosted, probably your last.
Yeah, probably my last. Yeah, if this airs, oh my god, followers all the way down, minus 20 followers. You'll have to buy a Russian following.
Yeah, who would do that? Who would do that?
Shout out to all the Russian followers. I don't want to sit here for 2 hours. I got work, so
Yeah, big deal.
Big deal. I'm a big deal. So just wanted to start quickly.
Yep.
What was it like growing up? Let's get the full story of Mitchell Sultana. Where'd you sit in class? Where'd you sit on the bus? Did you take the bus? What you have for recess? What'd you have for recess on your second day of school? All that stuff.
No, growing up was good, man. It was good. It was pretty chill.
Where'd you grow up?
I'm Quakersill, so Sydney. I've lived there my whole life. Like it's good, man. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's upper class, but I'd say it's definitely middle class. Like it's definitely a good place to grow up. There was no other place I'd really known my whole life. So growing up here, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Having a park, down the street, having basketball ring, having basically anything I could, get my hands on sport wise, like balls. I'd always be moving, having a bike, always going around, and it's pretty cool. Like we kind of caught the back end of the era where As soon as the street lights turn on, that's when you go home. We kind of caught that back end.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
I always watch movies where they just stay and I'm like, that's...
So when it starts to get dark, then they used to go home. So it was pretty cool, man. But to be honest, I wasn't really home that much. I was always out and about, like doing things, like just always doing sport or doing after school activities, stuff like that.
Some things don't change, eh?
Nah, some things don't change at all. So yeah, no, I was pretty much had a pretty good childhood, man. I only went to 2 schools my whole life.
Yeah.
We went to the same school in
we did.
primary.
If anyone doesn't know, shout out to St. Joseph's Primary Schofield. I had I was in kindy. Yeah, year 1?
Yeah, so we're 1 year apart. So we didn't know each other, but it was funny. We actually went to the same school.
No idea. And then all of a sudden, best mates, basically.
Best mates, basically.
Yeah, hot intern. I'm freaking interning for you now. Far out. Crazy.
Yeah, no, so my school was cool.
What were you like in class?
I wasn't...
Primary school.
Like, I wasn't the smartest kid at all, but
troublemaker?
Knowing
you.
I wasn't a troublemaker. I was easily distracted. I can tell you that. So and I was always
that's one thing all my friends seem to be just quiet.
I was that one kid that always got in trouble because he was laughing a lot. I wasn't the kid making trouble, but I was laughing. Yeah. So I was always laughing at everything my mates used to do. Like just when I was a kid, like just do silly shit. Like and it's just you find the littlest things funny. I was always someone that just laughed at everything.
Some things don't change.
No, some things don't change at all.
Shit.
No, so I always was pretty sweet, man. I just had a pretty cool childhood. Moving schools was different from the start, but
moving primary school.
Yeah. But once because I just didn't know anyone at the time, but once I got acclimated to it, it was pretty sweet, man. It was pretty good. The school I went to, Rouse Hill Anglican, I liked it. Like. Everybody thinks that the school they go to is a shit school, but it actually isn't. It was actually,
I know, hey. Everyone's like grass is green on the other side.
Like, it's not really. Like, it's just like, it was a pretty cool school. I went there for a long time.
Any, like, super favourite memories or fond memories from that school? Or just that time with your friends?
I don't know. It's hard. Like, I didn't have heaps of friends. Like I still don't now, which I like. But I didn't have heaps of friends, like, that I'd hang out with. Like, I probably had, like, during school, I had like one pretty good mate throughout the whole year, and then he went to another school. Yeah. And then when they left, one of my other good mates first came to the school. So, Barnesy, the sex pest from Pittown. So,
the fireman.
He came.
He's busy fighting fires. Big day today for him.
Yeah, he came. So we were actually, clicked pretty basically straight away. And then we were in the same group, and we still talk to this day. He's the only guy from school I talk to from this day.
No, yeah. He's one of your best mates for sure.
Yeah, no.
I've been on the... We were at Frango's and you got a phone call. We weren't sitting in your van because at that point you couldn't sit down into the Frango's. He calls you and you go, Chris, can I take this? And I went, of course you can freaking take it. I was about to say fucking, but I was like, I can't swear. Yes, I can.
You swear?
Fuck yeah, I can swear. And then you took the phone call and then it was like you two were like twins talking.
Well, it's like when you're friends with a kid from school, you go back into what you were when you were a kid.
He'd be fine if we were talking about...
He wouldn't care.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Daniel.
It just goes back into, like, you go back into that world where you find the littlest things funny. Like, I remember one of the funniest memories I had when we were playing, it was our year 12, like, the day before we officially graduated. And we played, like, a school teachers versus year 12 soccer game. Anyway, we were playing, and our old year advisor, he was all right. At the end of the day, looking back, he was all right cat, but he was a bit of a toss sometimes. Like, he always it was just niggling people on the soccer field. And I just had the shits for some reason. And I just said, and Barnesy said, the best thing that happened in year 12 Salty said to our year advisor, sir, get fucked.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Like, sir,
I feel like because you're you're during the year 12 thing.
And the whole,
you can actually say shit.
The whole week of that was just so, it was different, man. Like when you graduate, it's so anticlimactic. Like it was just
you reckon?
Big build up for nothing.
Yeah.
Like the next day after you graduate, that's it. It's like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like there's like.
Did you know what you wanted to do year 11, year 12 time or?
Yeah, so I wanted to do something. I wanted to do sports science, maybe like a PE teacher or something in sport.
Yeah.
And I still do it to this day, do something in sport, but.
Where'd that stem from? Was that because your mates wanted to do it? Is that you just inclined to it?
I always love sport. Like every time, like this is funny. Like this is aging, but like whenever Dad used to get the paper and he used to finish it, I used to always turn it to the back page. Always look at sport first.
Yeah.
Like I always thought sport was the biggest thing.
Me too.
Always thought sport was the biggest thing, and in life, and it's still a
the
massive
front
thing.
page never.
Nah, front page is always fucking kiddies compared to the back page.
Like shout out to John Howard, but I don't
Yeah,
care what scale you're in.
But yeah, fucking. I always looked at the back page of sport. So I always liked sport. That was always something that I grew attached to, and I always liked doing that. And then, going after school, I didn't really like I didn't like anything learning. I didn't like reading, anything like that shit. And I wasn't that I was bad at it or good at it. I was basically average, like 50%. Like I was like, if I was to take a test on something, I'd basically get 50% and everything.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't really care about any of that stuff learning wise.
Was that, you reckon, just you weren't interested in?
Nah, bro. Like, I'm not interested in science. Like some people can be, but I'm not. Like I'm interested in sport, like culture, fashion, shit like that. That's what I like. And now it's getting bigger and bigger. And now there's more of an appetite for it. But back then, like, no one really cared, like, about shoes and shit. And
especially just American sport in
100%.
general. Like, I think I'm the same as you, where I like the NBA, NFL and stuff like that. But a lot of people didn't fuck with that type of stuff.
So it's funny, like, because I only had like 60 people in my year 12 when we officially graduated. I was the only person that liked basketball my year. Like
fair enough.
My
fair
year.
enough.
Like, it was like, no one liked that. Like, everybody, whenever I used to come to school, like, we had Mufti Day, I used to wear, like, different shoes all the time. And people were like, oh, fuck, you're wearing this. Like, I used to be, like, different.
What's everyone else wearing?
Oh, back then, Roshis were a big thing.
Oh, yeah, for me they were.
So back, I got Roshis in 13, and then the next year, everyone was wearing them. So then I just wore, like, bro, I used to wear Jordans to school. Like, people were like, what are they? I used to wear, like Concords, Breads, like 11s, shit like that. And people were like, what are they? They look ugly. Now you look at it, everybody wants a pair, which is funny like that. But yeah, I used to wear just like...
You're an OG, huh?
Well, yeah, I would say that, like, I got into the sneaker game early, like, compared to most people. Like, I was into it when I was 15, 16.
Yeah.
Like, lining up at Castle Hill Towers, Nike, at 7 in the morning, and then getting a pair anytime I wanted. Like, I don't know, Castle Nike, if no one knows, that used to be the best place to get sneakers in Sydney, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
Untapped, no one knew
Shout
about
out to
it.
the Uncovered podcast. Actually, one of the episodes they actually mentioned Nike Castle Towers.
Bro, Nike
I was like,
Castle
what
Towers was cracked. Like, I remember, like, Bread 11s, they used to be the hot, like December, it used to be Jordan 11 season, basically. And every time there was a Jordan 11, I remember the Bread 11 sat there for a month at the Nike Castle Towers, and over America, people were getting shot for them. Like,
no, I remember Space James too.
Yeah, it was just crazy. Like, things just used to sit there all the time. So as a kid, man, whenever I saw that, I used to try to fucking figure out a way to get shoes. And my old man was a bit of a sucker for it. So I used to say to my old man, if I do good on this test or if I do this right, would I be able to get these shoes?
I did the exact same.
And he was like, yeah, if you can do that. So I remember he said to me, if you get 65% on your business studies test, we can go get a pair of shoes.
Oh, you did business studies?
Yeah, I hated it.
Really?
Yeah, got 66%.
Yeah,
got 1% over, so I got the base basically. And he's like, all right, let's go get some shoes. But back then, like, no one did business studies, so I was 8th. I got 66 and I was 8th in the class out of like 40.
Yeah.
It's like, and I didn't even do commerce. I just did it because my old man said you should do it.
Yeah.
So like fucking, any way I could get a pair of shoes, I would.
Yeah.
And then, whether it be get up at 6 in the morning, get a bus to Towers or something like that, I'd find the way to get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like going back, like shoes and shit, like no one talked about that. But I didn't really like learning. I hated learning when I was at school, didn't like it.
Yeah.
Thought it was a waste of time. And then I saw the repercussions of it. I saw my brother. And he didn't like learning. And then I saw him become a fucking mechanic. And no discredit to people like that, but fuck.
That's just not your path.
No way. I'm not going to break. Like, it's too much hard work for me at the end of the day. I'm not going to break my back to do that shit. Like, late, getting up at 5 in the morning, come home at like 6 at night. Like, it's just not, that wouldn't be for me. Like, no way. So I realised, like, in year 11 and 12, like, year 12 special, I'm like, well, if I got to do something, I'm going to have to do something that I want to do. And I thought I wanted...
That you love.
Yeah, and I always like
or at least somewhat love.
Yeah, I always like sport. So I was like, if I could do something in sport, I'll be happy, I'll be kiddies.
Yeah. It won't feel like work.
No, I won't feel like... Oh, not even that. It was just... I like being in team environments and shit like that. Like, and I applied for ACPE.
Yeah.
The one Juice went to. And I got in there, and then
what's ACPE stand for?
Australian College of Physical Education.
Okay.
So anyway... Like,
I was like thinking it was Australian Catholic Physical Education.
Something like that. So I got in there, and in September, I was going to take it. I was going to say, like, yeah, sweet. And I took it. I was like, oh, I'm sweet. I'm going ACPE next year. And like 2 weeks...
How hyped were you?
I was happy, like, because I didn't get a good ATAR. I got like in the 30. I got like 33 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't study once in year 12.
Yeah.
Like once, and it wasn't to say that I didn't care. It's just It wasn't for me. I knew there was more to a fucking...
What was the between year 12 and going to uni period like for you?
Bro, it was boring.
Because it's a weird period. It's like...
It was boring because there was nothing for me to do. And then I got a job working at Masters at Rouse Hill.
Shout out. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to that place.
My mum used to work for them.
But I got hired in November, right?
Okay, cool.
But I didn't start till February because they were still building the store. They were still building it. And I was only casual, so I was like doing... So I wasn't doing it. So I started my induction in February. So I had like 2 months basically to do nothing.
Yeah.
And, bro, I used to get up, just do nothing. I just wake up. It's like when you're on school holidays. We just on school holidays for a long-ass period of time.
No, that's what I mean. That's probably one of the weirdest periods of my life. That's
and it was just like I wasn't doing anything. And it kind of fucked me because, like, I remember, like, that became a normal thing just not to do anything during the day, just to chill out with your mates, go shoot around. And, like, that wasn't, like, life. So when I was...
It's a very easy life.
Oh, bro, easy. Yeah. So when I was going to go to uni, the 2 weeks before I was like, nah, I don't want to go. You know, I don't know if I want to do it. I want to do a gap year. And it was probably the best and worst thing for me because the gap year probably lasted for 3 years. But in saying that, I didn't do something that I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then the year after...
So you didn't want to dive in head first into the exercise side.
I just didn't know if I... Because at the end of the day, I hated science at school and I was going to do something that's exercise science.
Yeah. Do you regret that decision? Or?
Nah, I don't regret it. I do.
At the time, did you?
No, I didn't regret it at the time. No, I was pretty sweet on it. Like, at the time, you know, I still thought that I could make something out of basketball, which is crazy to say because, like, when back looking at it.
No, let's backtrack then. So you decide not to go.
Yeah.
What's the next 6 months look like for you then?
So I just said to my old man's like, if you don't do it, that's fine. Because old man's been pretty instrumental in everything I've done.
Yeah, for sure.
He said, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just start working. So I got the job at Masters and I was working basically 3 to 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, depending on shifts, weeks and stuff like that. And I didn't mind it. Masters was sweet. It was whatever. But I knew, like, it was good that I worked there because, like, now I look at it like...
You'll never like it. Was that your first job? First actual job? Or
first job I worked at the canteen at Hills.
Okay.
My old man bought
okay.
Some people said that wasn't a job.
At the basketball stadium,
yeah. Some people say that wasn't a job. I reckon it still is. But
that
was my first job.
First job that you got, by
myself.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. And
did you interview for that job?
Yeah,
how was that process?
It was all right.
It's pretty daunting, the first.
It was a group interview. I nailed it. Right.
Oh, group interview.
The thing was the group interview. Usually they do. So if you're successful in the group interview, you have to do an individual interview.
Yeah, usually.
Anyway, there was like 50 people in the group interview, right?
50?
Yeah, like because I
was thinking like 10.
They'll just interview on like different people for different positions.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was this thing. They said Masters. They said Masters is owned by Lowe's, and they asked the question. They said, "What is Lowe's?" And I did research on Masters. Lowe's in America is Lowe's Hardware. It's not Lowe's over here. It's a hardware store. And I said, put my hand up. I was like, Lowe's Hardware is in America and it's owned by Masters. And like the manager was like, correct. And then I was walking out and then one of the guys said, do you know what happens with the next process? He said, yeah, don't worry, you probably should get a call soon and you'll be sweet. I was like, okay. Got a call the next day, got the job straight away. He's like, don't have to come in for the interview. You already got it. I was like, oh, fuck. So I was pretty sweet. And then I went in there, started working it. It was fine. But then I realized just the people that work full-time there, they're different cats, man. Different breeds. Different breeds. It's just like, it's not a job that I would want to do.
Yeah, so you probably walked around being like, I don't want to. Why am I here? I don't want to be.
There is a saying, like in Bunnings and Masters, like, that's where all people go to die. Because it's just like,
it is a weird like kind of mix of people.
And like the full-timers, they just think that they're better than people. And I like that at the Masters I worked at least like they thought they were better than people. And at the end of the day, these cats did nothing with their lives. That's why they're working there. Like they didn't work hard for anything, so that's why they're doing it. And I don't really care. Like that's the end of the day, they weren't doing anything. And I was 18. I was like, fuck, I couldn't do this for more than 2 years, let alone fucking like a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I don't care. At the end of the day, that's what I think. I just think like people that work there full-time.
But rarely do you like your first job.
No. But like people that work there full-time, they didn't do anything with their life.
Yeah,
like they didn't because they're still working at fucking Masters or that you know it's not.
So I'm guessing I was going to ask you if like you learned anything from Masters, but I would assume that it was just you realize that you don't want to go to plan C, D. You want to pursue something.
What I learned is if I cruise through life, I'll end up doing
in a place you don't want to be.
I'll end up in the grind or in the rat race. But that's something in my life to this day that there's no fucking chance.
You don't want to be in a place where some 18-year-old can just
basically do the same job as you. Like, I don't want to do that, and there's no skill. I didn't have any skill to get the job. I just said graduated year 12. That was basically bang, no worries. So like, I was just like, what I learnt was there's no chance I'll do this. I've got to work hard. And then that fizzled out. But the best part about it, because I didn't want to do it anymore, I was still working there, but I applied for other jobs. And I applied for a job in Rose Bay called Creambrook School, basketball coaching. And like, that's what I wanted to do as a job out of uni. And I applied for it, and I thought Creambrook, I read it wrong. I thought it was in Creambrook in Penrith. And that's much closer than fucking Quakers Hill to Rose Bay. If people don't know where Rose Bay is, it is like 5 minutes from Bondi.
It's a nice little mistake. You're thinking going out west, which you'd love. Yeah. You'd love Penrith, but to go to a place like Cranebrook, it's totally different.
Love the riff.
I'm the host. You don't touch it. These are my bunnins. Pretty good mistake to make.
Oh, bro, it was a great mistake because like when I went there, the guy. So when I got a call from the guy, Stevie Whitehead, he said to me, "Hey mate," I was like, "Good."
What's he, sports master?
He was the head of basketball. And people who don't know Steve Whitehead, he was an ex-NBL player, played for the Kings. He's like in the Kings Hall of Fame. Like,
did he go to?
He was a kiddies. Nah, he was from Melbourne originally. Played with Gazy and the Tigers. Won a championship with Gazy.
Yeah,
like he was
just quietly.
He was a real good player. Like averaged like 12 points a game in NBL. People might say that's 12 points, but fuck, that's pretty hard to do. Anyway, he called me and he's like, "I'll come in for a trial shift." And I talked to him. He's like, "Mate, so you live in Quakers Hill?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's pretty far away." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, if you get the job, you might have to come in, 3-4 times a week." I'm like,
"Did you have the Chrysler at the time?"
No, I didn't have the Chrysler.
Just because I know you love driving that thing, so it wouldn't be a problem driving.
No, I had a Lancer. at the time. And,
even better.
Mate,
probably better fuel.
Much better fuel.
Yeah.
Like I did a week's tank going back and forth. Probably would have done 2 tanks and fucking the whip now.
Yeah,
I got that job, and that was such a good job for me because it opened up. Like, there's so much more to Australia and Sydney than the West.
Than the Hills District.
I'd never been out from the Hills District ever in my life, really. So going from the Hills in the West to the eastern suburbs, it was.
No, that's what I mean.
So it's a different Australia. That's
culture shock. Bit of culture shock.
The way I look at it, it's a different Australia. It is so different, man. It's just like I used to go to this every time for lunch. This chicken shop. I used to see Kyle Sanderlands there. I used to see like all these different people.
Char girl?
Yeah, Char girl. Like car wash used to have Bentleys, Rolls Royces. Like I saw like Michael Clark, the ex-captain of Australia, Sophie Monk. Like all these people I just used to see. Like it's just like all the A-list. It's kind of like Hollywood and Beverly Hills for Australia. That's like how you can say it. And then where I lived it's not Compton, but I'm like 10-15 minutes from it. I'm like 10-15 minutes from Compton.
Nah, legit. A lot of people either have a house in Byron or a place near Bondi or whatever.
Right, it was so mad. And, like going there, working there, finishing like 4 or 5 o'clock, go down to the beach, chill out. It was so mad. And I used to go to this fucking bar all the time after work. Because sometimes like I finish work at 3:30 and I
do you want to shout out the bar?
Yeah, the Beaver, Stuff Beaver in Bondi.
If you know Mitch, he never talks about the stuff.
The kiddies, the Mickey Grouse Ripstick. Anyway, so I used to go there all the time, and I became mates with the owner. And like every time I used to go there, he just didn't know. Is
he still the owner now?
No, not at the moment. He's working somewhere else. I think he's in backcountry in Randwick.
Yeah,
but he was mad, Johnny. He was mad dog. Like I just didn't want to get stuck in traffic. So I used to go there for an hour.
Traffic,
so I used to go there in an hour and just like have a meal, chill out. And like every time I went in there, he always used to turn TV on to basketball for me, and like used to get me wings straight away, like a free Coke every time I got there, like, and that was living for me. That was like because like at that time, like every time like I did that, like I was loving it. And then so I was working there for a year, and then
so I would assume with masters you learn about where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And the next step was Cranebrook, and it was basically you're living the lifestyle you want to live for the rest of your life.
Right.
Work, leisure.
It really was. It really was. It was like, because like the way I was making like $18 an hour at Masters, working 8-hour days. I was working 3-hour days, 4-hour days, making the same money at Cranebrook.
Yeah, bro, doing something you're actually more passionate.
My base hour rate was $35 an hour.
Yeah,
like that's so crazy for a kid like 18-year-old.
Definition of work smarter.
Just like working smarter, harder. Bro, there was no day that I worked at Cranebrook and I'm like, this is too tough.
Yeah.
Like, bro, all I was doing was coaching kids. It was so easy. It was so fun. And Whitey was the best boss ever. It's like any time I couldn't come in, no stress. Didn't care. Like sometimes I used to go out on a Friday night. I just didn't want to get up that next morning. It's like, oh, Steve, I can't make it tomorrow. He's like, yep, all good. Like, he was just such a kiddy's boss.
Very accommodating.
Yeah, very accommodating. Shouldn't have done it. I fucked him around a lot, but...
You're a kid.
Yeah, I was a kid. Like, I just didn't know. And he was always cool about it. And he said to me one time, he's like, if you can't make it, just tell me a week in advance. I was like, all right, sweet. But he was always cool, so I worked there for a long time. I was working there for a year. And then the next year, he said to me, mate, if you know anyone that wants to come in and work, come down and work, just let me know. And at the time, I had a good mate, Mossy, who I was still playing at basketball with, and he was on this show previously. And I said to him, bro, do you want to get a job? Because he just got out of school then. I was like, bro, it's pretty easy, it's pretty fun. He's like, yeah, right. So me and one of my good mates at the time, Moss, still a good mate, we used to go into the eastern suburbs. Every time we got there, I will say one thing about Cranbrook. The people there, it took them a long time to warm up to a kid from the west. But
different way
just different. They just didn't even know. And it wasn't like I fucking came in with rat's tails or anything like that. It was just different speed because every person that worked there used to be an ex-boy of the school.
Yeah, that's usually the case with private schools.
I was like the only guy working there that was not an ex-boy. Or like sometimes they have like American guys that come over like that just work there. So I was like one of the only ex-boys. So it took them a while for me to warm up. But like some of the good guys was like Oscar, Ed, Hamish, Jimmy. Like they were cool
friends
guys.
of the show.
They were great boys to me. And Benny O'Neill, like they were great boys, and they helped me out through that. And then Mossy came and started working, and then Steve loved it because Steve wasn't from the east. He was from Melbourne. And he's like the boys from the west. Like he loved it. He always called us the Westie boys. And we used to come in, man, and like it was just heaps of fun. Like we were basically getting paid to play basketball. Really, like it was so much fun. Yeah, I did that for like till 2019.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up Mossy and basketball and coaching.
Yeah.
So I'd love to shift to that.
Yeah.
What was the start with basketball for you?
Started basketball like playing, coaching, playing or coaching.
Let's go playing and then shift to coaching.
Yeah. So started basketball playing. So I played nearly every sport when I was a kid. I played soccer, footy, cricket, tennis, basketball, obviously. And
what sports did you not play?
I didn't play golf. I can tell you that. I didn't play AFL. AFL is a big sport in Australia. I didn't play that. I played like
it wasn't really big in Sydney.
No, I played a gala day of that. But I played basically nearly every sport you could think of that's like common.
Yeah.
So soccer was my first sport that I really liked. So I was always playing soccer, but I liked basketball a lot. So I consistently played basketball, and basketball is different. Like
you're a Man U guy, yeah.
Yeah, Man U and PSG. I like PSG and Real. Because the way I don't look at it like you can only follow one team. If I follow different leagues, I'll follow different teams from different leagues.
I follow players. So I'm the worst.
So United, I like PSG because there's Zlatan. I still like everything they do. And then I like Real Madrid. Yeah, going back, I love soccer. So that was like my first like sport that I really liked. I was all right at soccer. I was playing rep soccer at the time. And then I was always still playing consistent basketball all the time.
Because you're tall now. Were you tall for your age? Is that why you got into basketball?
I was kind of tall for my age, but like on my team, I was like the third, fourth tallest, but I was still like over tall, over average height.
Do you remember your first memory in terms of how you got into it? It's like, for me personally, I remember watching the 2008 NBA Finals and went, that's what I want to do.
No, well, my brother played it when he was a kid at Hills. And then
me too, my brother played too.
And then every time he liked the academy stuff, so every time after school I used to have to go to Hills, and my parents were like, "Oh, well, he's there now. Why don't we just put him in?" So
did they have the canteen at the time, or
no?
This is after.
This is after.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Yeah, we'll."
So Jake starts first.
Yeah, Jake starts first. And then he put him in, and then old man bought a ring outside the front of the house, so I used to shoot on that.
Same ring as you have now?
Different ring now.
I was going to say pristine condition.
Old school. The ring I got now is pretty kiddies.
Yeah.
But I used to just shoot around all the time, and then I think my parents put me into a biddy ball team.
Yeah.
And
were you naturally good to start with? Like, some people just have it to start with.
So I was all right. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't great. But I could pick it up pretty easily.
Yeah.
The one thing I wasn't good at, which is now probably one of the better things about shooting, I wasn't a great shooter. But what I was good at like passing and just reading the game from the get-go.
Just vision.
My old man said I was pretty good at reading the games. Like every time I just made a clear-cut pass, like an easy pass.
Yeah.
So I just made like the right pass. And I think that came with soccer too. Because you had to see vision from a distance.
Yeah.
And basketball is so close compared to foot soccer. Like sometimes you have to do like a 30-meter through ball, shit like that. So it just
seems easier because you've had you don't have to like control with your feet. You can just be like pass it.
Like it was so much different passing, like playing like a ball sport with my hands and shit. So like I loved playing it from the get go. Played biddy ball first.
Are you watching NBA at the time or not?
Nah, I wasn't watching
NBL,
NBA. I knew of AI, Shaq, because my
Just
dad
the big guy.
My dad got me a Sixers ball, had Allen Iverson on it, so I looked it up. So my first favourite players was AI Shaq, and then LeBron, and then I've always carried LeBron since. But yeah, no, that's how I got into basketball. Biddy ball, played with Zoe, who's still at Hills now, and Berkey was my first technical coach.
Yeah.
So it's still cool to see that I'm still I still talk to them and still always see them around. So it was pretty funny that I played with her, and then I after Biddy ball, I still liked it and enjoyed it. So we played that on Saturday mornings to afternoons.
Yeah.
And then I still played soccer on the Saturday mornings to afternoons. So it actually always worked out well.
Yeah.
It was always
so tell me about the shift from, because you're playing two sports one day. What made you choose basketball? So surely at one point you had to choose.
Yeah. So at one point I had to choose basically in year 8. Year 8 I had to choose. So I was still playing soccer, and then I didn't want to play soccer anymore. So I played league. I played league, but I still played basketball. And then the best thing in basketball, when you get older, it moves into weekdays. So you can play weekdays.
Yeah,
and
footy always stays.
On weekends. And it's same with summer. In summer I played cricket, but I always played basketball. A big part of it is because my parents, we were family friends with the families and the teams.
Yeah,
so
me
we
too.
always got along with the families and stuff. And I always played, with certain teams. And
So yeah,
I always played with these two boys, twins I used to have on my team. I always played with them. I played with Luke MacArthur. I don't know if you know him.
Love Luke MacArthur.
Because we used to go to primary school together.
Oak Hill, great.
Yeah, so we played for
He's got a kid now.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to that little kid, little MacArthur.
So we played for a long time. We always played in the same team, and then he made reps. And then one year I trialed for reps, and I didn't make it. I wasn't.
What year was that?
07. So the hardest part about it now, looking back at it, the reason
07?
Yeah.
So how old were you?
I would have been in year 5.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, I would have been top age.
So 12s.
Top age 14s.
Oh, okay. 14s or whatever.
Top age 14s, and that's the reason I didn't make it, because now I know as a coach, if you're a top age 14 and you're not a Hills player, they usually just fucking cut you out, basically.
How'd you react to not making the team?
Yeah, I wasn't happy, obviously. I thought I could have made it, because they had 2 or 3 teams, and I was a bigger kid, tall, and I wasn't a bad mover, and I could kind of play all right. So, obviously you think you can make it. You always think you're good enough.
That's why you go, yeah.
You always think you're good enough. Got cut. It was actually, it was funny, because after that time I was like, fuck that, fuck Hills. I don't want to play for Hills, this and that. And then I just ended up not trialing for reps anymore. So just played local comp with basketball. But yeah, I would say year 8.
So at this point you're not fully, you just do it for fun.
Yeah, just doing it for fun, man. But I always enjoyed basketball, because I always had good friends in basketball. And then I had it was good. I had a balance. I had different friends in different sports. And but basketball I always liked. And then I started.
What was the difference between your friendship groups and soccer, footy, and basketball?
Were schoolmates.
Yeah,
and then footy was just different people. Some schoolmates, but some from different some from different schools that I just that I became friends with. And one of my best mates at the time, he was in Russell, and he moved to Russell Public, and then he told me to come play footy for this club. So I played with him. We weren't even in the same age group, but I went and played at the same club.
Yeah.
But yeah, basketball, I always had my mates from school. I always played with the same bunch of boys.
Yeah.
From a long time. And then, year 8, I kind of got to choose. And it was just basketball was the one where I always just had the most consistent fun.
That's what I mean. It's you're seeing your friends at school, and you're seeing the basketball, then you're family friends with everyone. It's kind of a natural progression.
If we played a game on a Monday afternoon or Monday night, sometimes I'd go. My mum or dad would say, all right, you're going back home with Brad, who was one of my good mates at school. You go back to his house, and then, they'll drive you to the game, and then we'll pick you up from the game.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
It really started the whole social side for basketball.
Or vice versa. They'd come back home with us. We'd have just play video games. We'll come outside, play, and then go play a game. So that was fun. It was a little treat before the game. And then the best part about basketball, we didn't train. It was just local comp, so you didn't train.
No, exactly.
So you don't get sick of it. You're always just playing a game. So it's always the best part about basketball.
Did you have a coach?
Sport.
Do you have a local comp coach?
Yeah.
Or was it just a dude that does subs? One of the dads?
Yeah, just one of the dads.
Yeah.
Wasn't
That's
anything.
perfect.
I had one coach in year 9 who was pretty full on. And at the time he was teaching me.
Suck.
He was teaching me how to do screens and shit, and I didn't know what he was talking about. Because he thought I was
at that age, you don't really care unless you play reps.
I didn't have a clue, and I never played reps, so I was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. He used to try to run a play, it was just
that's
I was just did one play, and looking back at it now, but all it was pass, cut in place.
Yeah, I know, but
at that time, it was like he was talking to me in fucking Chinese.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't understand it, couldn't comprehend it.
because you have a full day of school and you want to just have fun. You're getting told what to again, even though you've done for 8 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was different, but yeah, playing basketball was just always the fun part about it. So that's like in year 9, I was kind of like, all right, I'm just going to play basketball. And then I went for a period like from year 8 to year 9 where I didn't play any sport. And it was like weird because I always loved playing sport. So I was like, Dad, I want to go back and play basketball. So we had a team, and then that team kind of fizzled out. Like my good mates didn't want to play anymore. And then some of my other mates went to play like different competitions. And I was in that period where I was still decent for my age, but I wasn't great. But because I had like a year off.
Were you always playing your own age, or did you age up?
No, so when I was a kid, I was always playing a year up from my age.
Yeah.
Like we used to play in competitions where we used to be like, because my team was pretty stacked, we used to have like a couple of rep players. And then I wasn't a rep player, but everyone used to ask me to go trial at other clubs because I would have made reps at other clubs.
Yeah.
But I was like, at the time, I was just at Hills.
It's like that, you just want to stay, yeah.
So I was just playing there. And then we had like 2 rep players, so Luke McArthur and then Benny Chavoro. And then we had like Darian who played at Hornsby, and then me, and then 2 kids that are taller than me. So we had like 4 kids at the time, but 5 kids including me that were tall, tall for their age. So all in that age, if you're tall, you basically win.
Yeah.
So we used to win competitions. We never used to lose a comp. We always used to win the comps. And then we got moved up to a year older than us. We still won that comp. We were in Bs, but we were still like going from our age group to A's to Bs. It's a different challenge.
Yeah.
And then that team dissolved. And then year 9, we kind of had one more crack, won the comp, played with Mitch Evans and Will Pearce.
Great players, yeah.
Who Mitch went on to play state, and then Will Pearce went to play college. But I played with those boys, and then I had a year off, and then I had to go back onto the individual player board to get into a team.
Free agent.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
I thought it was a legend of Hills, but I didn't know it was a thing.
Which was good and bad because it was good because I got to obviously make new friends, but it was bad because I didn't know anyone. I didn't feel comfortable.
It's pretty
playing.
daunting putting yourself out there.
I didn't feel comfortable playing, so
because it's not like you put your resume there. It's not you have to be like that's Mitchell Sultana.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I couldn't get in my age group, so I had to play another year older.
Yeah,
it was fine. The competition was fine. It was just hard because those boys, some of those boys were doing year 12, and I was in year 10 still. And
it just shapes you way better.
Different shape, but it was cool. But I played that, and then we made enough, and then I had to do another individual player board team, and then I joined a team there, and I had a lot of fun there. I became good mates with one of my mates, Jay, and then when I was in year 10, I was a bigger boy. I was like 90 kilos at like 5'10", 5'9", and my old man...
So my height, basically.
Yeah, basically. So my old man put me into a gym, and I lost like 15, 20 kilos, and I was fucking real fit, was like training every second day.
So at this point, it sounds like you're ready to go into reps.
Yeah, I was ready to go on the reps. And then I didn't want to play at Hills because they cut me, and I was like, nah, fuck that. And then
so it still kind of cut.
Yeah,
no pun intended. Still kind of cut you. Though.
Yeah, 100%. And then I kind of knew I wasn't good enough for Hills anyway, so I was going to get cut anyway.
Well, it's tough
because I didn't learn.
I don't know if it's
I never played reps. Before,
I don't know if it's a reps thing or a Hills thing or whatever. It's just it's tough to cut people that have already played reps. And
it is.
Hills is probably one of the clubs that just retains their players really well. So it's just tough to crack into the...
No, it absolutely is. And then at that time, I don't know what the process was getting picked, but I knew I wasn't good enough because I had never played reps. So going in where I had to learn to play.
Yeah, you have your resume is local comp.
There's no chance. So at school, one of my mates was like, oh, I play at Hawkesbury. You should come down and play there.
And it's not too far from...
Not too far. Yeah. I'm kind of sweet where I live, 20 minutes from Hawkesbury, 20 minutes from Hills, 15 minutes from Kevin Betts. So I went to Hawkesbury, and then that was the only other club I knew because sometimes we had to go play gala days out at Hawkesbury where their stadium is. So I went and trialled there. I killed the trials because it wasn't very hard. And the competition.
So first time walking into that stadium was for your trials?
No, it was the second or third because I played gala days back in the day.
Oh yeah, other than gala.
But it was weird because I never wanted to play for another club but Hill. So it was going to play for another.
Really weird, yeah.
Going to another club was weird, but it was probably the best decision I made in life in general because I took a chance on myself, betted on myself, and then I made it. And then from there, I'll talk about that about I got to Hills.
Very Fred Van Vliet of you.
So I kind of bet on myself, and then I made the team, which I was...
Did you know anyone when you got in, or...?
I knew Jason.
No coaches, or...?
Nothing. I knew Jason, but he wasn't my age group. He was still in 18s. But he's like, oh, you come trial here. So I was 17, and it was under 22s, which is another big jump. And back then, youth league was much better than what it is now. I don't care what anybody says. Like Division 1 youth league back in the day, basically.
No, because I had mates in the Hills youth teams or whatever. Hawkesbury was tough.
Yeah.
One of the best games I ever watched was when Hills came over to Hornsby.
And we were one of
Hawkesbury.
Yeah, we were probably the smallest club, in Metro.
I didn't know you existed.
At that time, so we weren't very big. So I went there and made it, and it was the best thing ever because I had a coach who first off believed in me because he picked me right, but he also...
He's a BMAC?
Yeah, BMAC, but he also loved everything I loved.
Yeah.
So it was such an easy transition.
Yeah, no, I was going to actually bring him up because you brought up Mossy before, and I want to ask about him and BMAC. And you said that Hawkesbury is probably one of the most important... Hawkesbury, sorry.
Yeah.
One of the most important decisions you ever made.
Yeah.
I feel like two of the most influential people in your life came from Hawkesbury. So just
100%.
back to Mossy... How'd you first meet? What were your first impressions of him?
So first met him, so he was playing at 18s at the time, and then we used to train Friday nights, and then he trained before us. And then one time he trained before us, and he hung around training, and then BMAC said, Moss, come in and train with us, because I think we needed another player. So he came in and trained. He was a quiet kid. He's still, like, if you don't know him, he's still a quiet guy.
Do you remember your first chat with him, or...?
No.
Because he is a quiet kid, so maybe tough to crack, maybe.
I can't really remember my first chat, but I remember... After training, he was walking home, and I was driving. I had my P's at the time, and then I was like, "Hey man, you need to lift."
Flex.
I was like, "Hey, I was 17, getting your P's at 17
with the Lancer."
No, I had a commie back then.
Even
so
better.
I was still in year 11. I was still in year 11. I was like one of the first kids to get my license. So I was like, "Do you need a lift?" He's like, "Nah, I'm all good." And then from then, we just like because he was 2 years younger than me, but I was the youngest player on the team, and then him being 2 years younger than me. It kind of took, like, everything out of whack. So he became the rookie because I was the rookie before. But it was funny. I was the rookie, but I was, like, starting games as a rookie, which is, like, unheard of, basically, in youth league. Back then at least. So, like, I was kind of, like, I wasn't one of the better players, but I was a player in rotation. So, like, I didn't really talk to him as much. I talked to the older boys, and the older boys were, like, 20, 21. And my first, like, real interaction with him was when we went down to Mossvale. So we stayed down at Mossvale, and it was, like, a must-win game to play at Mossvale. And my coach, he's one of the best blokes ever. He's like, all right, boys, we've got a big game tomorrow. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to the Caravan Park and we're only going to drink there. So we went to the pub, picked up, I bought a lot at the pub, picked up all these drinks, and then we just got like on the beers the night before the game. It was like a must win, which is like, you never should do it, but fucking we didn't care. And like that was like the first time hanging out with Mossy. And, like, me and Mossy were still under 18 at the time, so we couldn't go into the bottle shop to buy
Love
drinks.
the coincidence of first time hanging with Mossy was in Mossvale.
Moss Vegas, actually.
Yeah, Moss Vegas. Shout out to Moss.
That's what we call it, because it is the Moss Vegas of fucking barrel, of the Southern Highlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we played there. So that was my first real interaction with Moss. We shared a room and shit, and, like, it was cool. Like, it was 50.
What were the first things you kind of clicked on? Was it just American culture, basketball, humour?
Yeah, like, first thing we kind of clicked on, like, obviously basketball, because we both play basketball.
Yeah.
But shoes, I was into shoes hard, like still, and I still am now. But he was a kid that wanted to be in the shoes, but just didn't have like the
No,
money.
it takes time. It takes time to
get
actually,
into it. Like he thought like back then like Cortezes and Converses were like the fucking Mickey.
They are sick, man.
I was still wore them, but like I was like sometimes I used to rock up the games with like different shoes all the time.
Yeah,
and they always just this was funny because I lived in Quakers Hill. Like it was like they lived in Hawkesbury. Hawkesbury's not a bad area or anything, but because I was like they thought I lived in the hills. They thought, oh, did you ride?
Must be nice.
Did you ride your yacht here today? Something like they just used to G me up like that, and I didn't mind it. It was fun, but I always used to wear different shoes. And then B-Mac used to have a joke. He said, "Salty, when you play today, play like you play from a public school." He's like, have a bit of fucking grunt in you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like going back, Mossy and I, shoes was one thing, and then music too. Because if anybody knows,
I would have. Yeah, that's what I.
If anybody knows, Drake's my favorite, and he always will be my favorite. And I always used to listen to Drake all the time. And then he got into he liked Drake obviously, but he got into Drake because I used to listen to it all the time. He just got naturally listening to it. So yeah, going from that, and then I used to drop him home sometimes. So that used to be a big thing. We used to drive on the way home.
That's a big deal. That's time spent in the car.
40 minutes in the car, 20 each way, 25 each way. So that's when Moss and I kind of got really good friends. And then we had a little clique in Hawkesbury, Fab 5. And then, from there we just became friends. And then when I got in the job, that's when we became like real close friends.
Yeah.
We spent 2 hours in traffic.
Yeah.
going to trainings, going to games, spend all this time together.
You just listen to music, chatting.
Just listen to music, chat, do everything together. Yeah. And then I realised we're basically very similar in what we do. Love the same music.
You're two pretty simple guys in terms, like, you're just so easygoing. Yeah. So when I met you two for the first time, I'm like, yeah, that's why they're best mates.
Like same food, like the same shoes, clothes, shit like that. Like
just no drama, eh?
Nah,
just no drama.
We were sweet. We just did whatever. Like anyone was like, we just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like in one of the cool parts when we used to go to that, like to Cranbrook. Sometimes we used to like to stop in the Chatswood or Macquarie, and like just go kill some time. We'll like go see a movie or something. And then one time Moss wanted to go try on some clothes at H&M. I'll throw him under the bus, but because he wanted to get new clothes. Like I used to buy something. Like say I bought a shirt, so he used to come in with me. I used to buy a shirt, but he used to go try on stuff. And then he used to put it underneath his clothes and then walk out and steal it as a kid. But he was still under 18 at the time, so if he got
the
caught,
H&M out.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter.
Which
now.
store? No, I'm kidding.
No, Chatswood. Fuck him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
So how long have you been friends with Moss?
Since 14, so 7 years now.
What's he taught you?
What's he taught me? Jeez, I don't know.
Well, if only you had a podcast to think about it and talk about it.
Well, what he would teach me,
because I would say he's one of, if not, he's on the Rushmore of influential people in your life, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. When you ask that question, I don't know who influential. Like, I don't know. What he would teach me,
no pressure.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. And if you probably asked him that, he'd probably be the same.
For me, even when you talked about it then, it's just he is still, but he sounded like he was a great companion and friend to you.
No, he is.
And a lot of the things that you just said then, he was just. His availability is something that you have in yourself, and you're such a great friend. It's just
back at that time, because we lived so close to each other at that time, it was so easy. Like even if off days we used to go to the park, we used to come to my house, we used to go to his house, and then I became close with his family, like his brothers, and then
it sounded like he was the friend you needed at the time.
I had like good mates at school. I still had one of my best mates from school, but it was a good balance. Like I had schoolmates, and then I had my basketball mates. Yeah. So it was a good balance. And then I had like my local comp mates. So it was a good balance of people I had. And then like just me and Moss, like it was just like a friendship that I just wanted to keep. Like we just kept keeping it on.
Yeah.
Because when
it was very organic.
Yeah, because when he moved, so in 2016, last season at Hawkesbury, he was moving north because he had to go play Div 1. I said to him, go play Div 1 somewhere. So he went to North, and I was going to stay at Hawkesbury, but then Hawkesbury ended up dissolving. They didn't have a team, and I was like, fuck. Was
that because they didn't make the div they wanted to, or
no? They didn't just have money the referees or anything. Okay, cool. Which is funny because if Mossy stayed, I think they would have found a way to do it. But because we lost our best player and shit, and then some of our boys,
it's tough to stay competitive in that league. Hey?
Some of our boys were aging out. Like it just would have been a bit of a change. But they didn't have a team, so I wasn't going to play. I was just going to take a year off. My last year I just wasn't going to play, and then I went and did a little training camp with Goran G. And he's like, bro, why don't you just play one more year? I was like, oh, yeah, why not? But at the time, all the trials were done because, like, we didn't find out until, like, November, December that Hawkesbury wasn't a thing anymore. So I called up Hills. I was like, look, I wanted to try.
Did that take a bit of pride to...
Yeah, like, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. There's no other club I wanted to play for Hills. So I was like, you know what?
You were still playing there for local comp.
Yeah, still playing there for local comp. So
I remember you.
So I still knew people there. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what, I'll give it a go. So I called up. Went there, and then I said to the front desk, I was like, hey, can I talk to someone about representative? Because I've been playing reps at another club, and then that's dissolved. I wouldn't mind, just training with a team. Anyway, DT Tricky came on, and he knew of me because he coached the Hills team that beat us. So I didn't like him from the get-go. I didn't like him at all because he beat us, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, mate, look, the team's already been done. I said, look, dude, I don't care what I play division-wise. At the time, I wasn't good enough to play Div 1. I was too big and slow. I was like, but I'd like to play Div 2. He's like, look, I'll give your number to the coach, and he might get a touch of you. And then the coach ended up being Robbie Merrick, which was fucking awesome because Robbie was like, yeah, bro, come down, train. And I didn't know at the time, but he told me, he's like, he sent one of his mates in to come see how I trained. And I trained terrible. I didn't train. I was gassed.
Reckon because there was a pressure? Or?
No, just tired.
Off day.
I was so unfit. Like I was gassed.
Okay, yeah.
Gassed and like just so tired.
It's a different speed, eh? Right, yeah.
Well, from not playing for like 4 months to going back, it was a big adjustment. But I hung in there just with my brains and stuff, and then some of the boys knew me. So he's like, yeah, bro, if you want to come train, no worries. And not even that, I'll just put you on the team. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, bro, no worries. And I think it was the best thing for our team because I was the oldest boy on the team from the get-go, and then all the boys on the team were like first-year youth league. So it's kind of like
so just naturally, you were kind of in that senior position. So roles without even asking.
Roles had swapped, and then I remember Robbie had to pull out coaching because he was still playing ABA at the time.
Yeah,
and then what was it? So he dropped out, and then we didn't have a coach for like a week, and we were gonna get booted. They weren't going to put us in, and then I came to training.
Yeah, it's not cheap to make it. Yeah.
I came to training one time because we're still training. We're training with the Youth League Div 1 boys, and they're like, all right, Youth League 2, you have to have a meeting. And the senior authority that came in, walked indoors, was a guy called Pete Hudson. Now, if anyone knows who
Pete Hudson.
Wow,
sounds like a character.
Pete Hudson. Anyone knows who he is just a bundle of energy.
Yeah.
And he would say, not a basketball player at all. So we didn't have a coach.
A battler.
So he was coaching us. And I remember he came in and he asked all the players, so he's like, what do we run? Like, what were we running? So I had to show Pete what we were running, and I showed all the boys what we were running. And at the time, Nick was the captain, but he was a soft-spoken captain. So I did a lot of the talking.
Nick Bellick? Yeah.
So I did a lot of the talking and the leadership for our team. And
you've always been good at public speaking.
Yeah.
Hey, so.
And he liked that because he was still the captain, but he liked it because he didn't have to talk as much.
Bellick? Yeah, he was never super
talkative. So I balanced out a lot because I used to tell the boys, like, if we're running this, we've got to run it with like perfection. We've got to run it with like a
intention,
like shit like that, and just like getting the boys up for games. Like, I used to tell the boys, look, because none of these boys, apart from Bellick, and I think one more player, had played youth league in their life. So I was a seasoned vet. I was basically like when David West went to the Warriors, that's kind of like what I was like for this team. So I kind of like just did all the dirty shit when I was in there, but like led the team. So I remember came in, we had like players like Juice, Luke, Jaffa, Kai. All players are still in high school, and I'm in like uni at that time, like doing all this shit. So it was so much fun because I was like the leader, and like that was
that a natural progression for you, just becoming a leader?
Yeah, so it was good.
Or was there a bit of teething issues at the start?
Nah, I was sweet because I was kind of like a semi-leader at Hawkesbury too.
Yeah,
because I was kind of like the players' captain. Like Mossy was the captain, but I was kind of like if he wanted to ask like advice, he sometimes asked me. Because he's like, you kind of see it.
It sounds like you have that knowledge from coaching too, where if you know, you kind of have the cheat sheet already in you, so you can actually communicate that with the boys.
When Hawkesbury went dissolved, the state league coach, who was my youth league coach at the time, he asked me to be his assistant.
Yeah.
And I was still like, I'm not too sure. So I didn't know if I was going to do that, and I wasn't. So I was like, so I kind of liked coaching from that. But the best thing was playing at Hills. I played basketball, and it was a lot of fun. And that team, we had a lot of young boys, but we had a lot of good chemistry.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like, those boys were all starting to turn 18.
Yeah.
So when they most started
I think
to turn
that's
18,
when me and you, we didn't meet officially, but I knew of you because of Youth League 2, and I was friends with Bellick and some of those boys.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I always remember, and I hung out because I had a few friends in Youth 1.
Yeah.
So especially Alex, friend of the show, get him on the potty, it'd be great.
Iconis.
But so I always followed them around, and then I saw you guys, and every time I saw you guys, you're just chatting, having fun.
Yeah.
It was a culture that they didn't really have in most Div 1 teams.
Well, they never had a Youth League Div 2 team ever.
Yeah.
Well, the first Youth League Div 2 team they ever had.
Yeah.
So I said,
but I think it was a perfect little
perfect.
mix of people. Yeah, because you're still friends with nearly all of them today.
Yeah, still friends with Juice, Jaff.
Yeah.
Like I could talk to Kai, all of those, most of those boys, Alex. So what I said to the boys, look, I said to Pat, I said, look, after games, we're doing something. After games, we're going to go do something. Whether that be go get a feed, whether that be watch the ABA boys, something like that. I said, let's do something as a team.
Where'd you get that mentality from? Like
Hawkesbury.
American culture,
From
Hawkesbury?
From Hawkesbury, because that's what we used to do all the time. We used to do something after games all the time.
Is that off the back of BMAC?
Yeah. Mac
Did you want to just... We could talk about him probably on a separate podcast.
Yeah.
You'll probably have him on.
Yeah.
But just... Summary, what's he mean to you?
Mac was the best coach I ever had.
Yeah.
He was the one guy that took a shot, like, and let me have a go, and like he didn't care that I was from another club, but like he was a role model to me in a sense where he was just a guy I liked. Like we just got along, and he said that too. He's like, I really like you, and everything. He always just made me feel included, and he always whether that be asked me to come to his house, asked me to stay on a holiday with him. Just everything he did, he always included me, but he included every boy on the team. And he always when we went out to Maitland, we used to stay at his dad's house. Like we used to stay up there. And it was the best.
It's funny how we're talking about a basketball coach, right? And asking you what's he mean to you, and it has nothing to do with basketball.
Nah, bro, that's why I like him. Like every time I see him now, we're at another basketball stadium because he's still at Hawkesbury and he's up town now. I'm trying to get him to come to Hills. Hopefully one day I can get him to get here. But like every time we come, like he hugs me. We don't talk about basketball for the first 10, 20 minutes. Like we just talk about life, and like he always helped me out whenever I was going through up and downs and shit. So I'll always have time for being back, and he was my favourite coach to this day, and he always will be. Yeah,
so it seems that inclusivity that he preached at Hawkesbury, you took it on board at Hills.
It was like, it wasn't even, I didn't even know I was doing it, which is the funny thing.
Oh, that's what happened.
I was just doing it because that's what I knew. That's what I knew.
That's what you were taught.
As a player, I was like, we got to hang out, we got to do these things. And it was good because John Oblitovich, shout out to Johnny.
Assistant coach?
Yeah, he always said,
and he had Luke's his son.
Lukey was his son. Yeah. And he always just say, all right, boy, because I say, John, he was the assistant. I was like, we should do something after games. He's like, you know what, smart idea. So after every home game, John used to open his house up, and we always used to go to his house, and we used to have barbecues at his house.
Yeah,
which was perfect.
And it's not, and I love that because it's not, let's go get fucked.
Yeah,
it's more of just a social, wholesome get to know.
And that wasn't.
It ended up getting,
and that wasn't to say that the boys used to get tanked because when
these no, but to start with,
no, no. So like the best part was.
I've seen your group chat, so yeah.
It wasn't like 2 or 3 of us used to come. It used to be like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Even like somebody was like Kai. Kai didn't drink, but he used to come and then he used to leave.
He was included.
Like he used to come. Like, everyone was included.
Yeah.
And that was the best part. No, we didn't have any cliques or anything like that. It was just one big group, and I thought it was the best part. Like Morgie, like for me, I was like the ringleader. Like I was like, I was like the Timmy Garland of youth league. I was the head of the party planning community. So I used to always like.
Well, just naturally, because you're older. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, boys, Johnny's opening his house up. I'll buy 2 cases, 3 cases, and just transfer me, and he used to have a kitty.
So that was at every home game type of thing.
Every home game, or if we didn't do that, we used to watch ABA and then after go back to Johnny's and get.
And home away games, you carpool and everything.
Yeah. Away games used to carpool, and then like the one of the best memories I had of Johnny's house was seeing Louis Dave, our manager from this year. He's the best. He's one of the best managers I've ever had too. Him and Rob Wakeling from Hawkesbury, he used to get fucking belted, man. He used to get belted together. And because he lived in Glenwood, I lived in Quakers Hill, we always used to get Ubers home together. Fuck, that was some of the best times out.
Yeah.
We used to be belted. We used to go to Macca's together. It was such a fun time. So, doing all those social things, it was good because it got the boys to actually become friends with different guys. Because I was from a different club. There was other guys that hadn't played at Hills before, like Morgie. There was guys that have never played youth league before. So it was good to get like a different group and a different mix in. Yeah. And I think it was the best thing for those young boys because it taught them what a culture could look like. Yeah. Like especially like Juice. Juice was, and then like, and Jafar and Luke. Like after games when they played 18s, they used to go home.
And that's the one thing I admired, a few things, but the main thing I admired about Youth League 2, and I think we can see it in coaching, we'll talk about that soon, is culture. This,
if you don't have culture, for me, you don't have anything.
And it's a very it's a buzzword these days. Culture. You can just easily put it out there, but what you're talking about is just this shared experiences of what it feels like to actually be a team, and it's something I think all associations, all teams, any sport should really focus on.
The best sport that does it for me is rugby league and AFL. They always do post-game functions, this and that. And that's something I'm trying to get instilled at Hills with my stuff.
Coaching with you, and if you're listening, you don't know, I've coached with Salty before, and it really
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Hey, no one knows that yet. Court fees. When I realised over the past 2-3 years that it's becoming the way you coach and the way you include people, do all the post-match stuff, it's very footy to me.
Yeah.
Seeing how all the footy boys do it.
No, it is.
And it's good to see that because basketball used to be, I don't know if it's a Div 1 thing or a Hills thing or just a basketball New South Wales thing, but it didn't really have that.
I'll tell you, country teams.
Yeah, it always was country teams.
Are always good at doing shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no, metro teams just seem to. It was a too cool for school type of.
And then you also look at it because you live in metro. Usually people always have stuff on Saturday nights. Usually there's something doing or when you're 18, go out to a club or some shit like that. And then those boys, they're 17 still, so basically they still had to listen to
and even if you're not happy with your association, you move 20 minutes away to another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you create this culture, it's so tough to leave that.
Absolutely,
that system.
No, it's so much harder. And then but going back to that culture, that's just something I like instilling, and it's good because it gets the boys like that. Like especially this year, we had a just different group of boys. We had boys that kind of knew each other already. Then we had some boys that didn't even play reps. Then we had boys that come from different clubs.
Yeah, so let's shift to that. So you're playing reps, you're playing youth league. You've already coached at Cranebrook.
Yep.
So you've got that little
still
taste.
coaching at Cranebrook this whole time.
Yeah, so have that taste for coaching. Now you're put into this position, this leadership position in Youth League 2. Where's the shift from just a Youth League 2 was it co-captain?
I was vice.
Vice captain to, wait a minute.
I was the captain. They would have given me captain, but I wasn't at Hills yet. So they said they needed to give it to a Hills boy.
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute.
Which is fair. Not really.
Why didn't I coach? What was that process like?
So, like, my last year usually was basically...
Head coach at, Hills.
Basically was like, this is my last year coaching. And Pete always said to me, he's like, mate, I reckon you should coach. You'd be a good coach. You should do this. And I always wanted to coach from a young age. Like, that's like, when people are like, I want to be a pro player, I was like, I want to be a pro coach. I didn't want to be a player, which is weird to some people. Some people would rather be a player. But
why do you think that was the...
I don't know. I just always liked coaching. I just liked the different aspects of it. I just liked... It's like basically when you play, you just got to take care of yourself, in a sense, and then the other players on the field.
That's what most people,
As a coach, you got to take care of everything, and you got to make sure everything's tip-top shape. You got to make sure everything's in a good balance. So that's what I liked about it. Like it's
more of a mental preparation than it is. Yeah,
it's like for me, it's like for other coaches, it's more mental than it is physical and
for sure.
Wise.
Yeah,
because every team can run the same fucking play, but it's just how you run it and how you can dictate it and how you.
There's a lot more moving parts.
How you can outsmart things, and like for me, I just like that different challenge of it. And then after the youth league season ended, there was a new coach that came on board. So our coach we had was Rob Dunlop, and then he was going to coach it again. So I was like, yeah, I'll coach it with him. And then it came in Ari, who was coaching ABA women, got the Youth League 2 gig.
Yeah. So, just quietly another pretty influential person.
Yeah, no, he was
in terms of coaching, especially.
No, he was very important to me. He's one of the best coaches I think in New South Wales basketball.
Yeah.
He got the gig. So those trials come along, and I said to him, "Look, mate, I was just wondering if I can come and assist you." He's like, "Yeah, mate, no worries." And he said, "Well, because you're going to assist with youth league," he's like, I got an under 18s gig too. So he said, "Look, because I got under 18s, why don't you come and you assist both teams?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll do that." So we assisted both teams, and that in the first thing he said to me, he said, "You know what? You're going to learn." I said, "You know what?" He's like, "Sorry." He's like, "You know what's going to happen?" I was like, "Wait." He said, "You're going to learn so much. It's going to be so good for you." That time I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm going to learn, but I think I know, a lot at the time," which is obviously naive of me. But I learned so much from Ari. I knew how to talk to players from a young age to old age, how to communicate with different types of players, how to run a training session properly, how to introduce things at certain times. Like I learned basically a lot of stuff from coaching. I learned, and I still use a lot of the philosophies he's taught me to this day. Like I still run plays that we ran back then. I still run certain tactics. So he taught me heaps with basketball, and I just liked everything about him. He was a guy that was kind of like me too, kind of including, loved like everything that I did with youth league. So he always like, yeah, come down and come down and coach. So I was doing that. I ended up getting demoted to manager for youth league, but I was still a part of the team. But the best thing about youth league and 18s, they train together once a week. So I still got to be a part of the youth league boys and 18s at the same time. And the best thing was I actually got to he was a person that, because we got along and clicked straight away, he let me take a lot of the reins with 18s. Like he let me, coach a lot of it.
He gave you the room to grow.
Yeah, he gave me the room to grow, and that's something that I'll hold Ari forever for, because it only took me like 1 year for me to basically or 2 years to get a gig. Mm-hmm. Basically from coming from a new club to coaching with a head team for 2 years, it's not really profound like that. So he taught me a lot coaching wise. He's the most, I think, when on his day, and it's hard because sometimes Ari just like it's just like he just fucking, because his first profession isn't a job, it's work, right? So when you get him on good days, I think he's one of the best coaches in New South Wales, and he taught me so much, and he's just such a great educator. He can teach people the game and the way.
Yeah, he has a certain
well.
He's coached me while coaching, and he has a certain way of communicating things that it makes the game simple, and at the end of the day, it's a very simple game. So that's what you need.
Yeah, and I was annoyed that he left Hills, but like he had to do what was best for him, and I said that, bro, no worries, and we still talk to this day, and we'll always still be close. But like he's someone like that. If he called me up and he's like, look, I would like you to come assist me. Like if he ever got a gig like doing something high up, and he asked me, I'd take it in a heartbeat because we worked really well together. And he even said that. He said to me, he's like, you're going to be a better coach than I am. He's like, just because...
Well, look at you, he's so young.
He's like, you're going to be a better coach than I am. You're going to be a really good coach if you stick with it. And I think, he instilled that, like, I can actually do it. Ended up...
Do you think you'd still be doing it if you didn't have that influence?
I'm not too sure.
Motivation from Ari, from
I think I still would have been doing it, but I wouldn't have been as good of a coach.
Yeah.
Fucking hell no.
Yeah.
But, like, with Ari, like, with 18, because he let me room to grow, like, we won the comp that year.
Yeah.
Like, we won the Metro comp. We were the best in New South Wales. Like, we did a really, really good job. Yeah. So, like, that helped too. Winning always helps. But it showed me, like...
Everything's fine when you're winning.
Yeah, it showed me a successful blueprint. And I'm trying to get that into today.
Yeah, so for me, it sounds like what you learn from BMAC is inclusivity.
Yep.
What you learn from Ari is how to communicate.
Yep.
And that's probably the two most important things that you've shown me as an assistant coach.
Yeah.
The two things you really need in order to create, as we said, a good culture.
Absolutely. And the way you communicate, because there's no one player that's the same. And there's no one person that's the same.
And you were saying it's like, Ari taught you how to talk to different types of players, but you can just substitute that. You can substitute that and say, no, he taught me how to talk to different types of people.
Yeah.
And people who react differently, all these things and all these life lessons. That's what really coaching is about at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's like you look at Wayne Bennett as a coach, like he doesn't even know it, but he's done way more than coaching to players on the field than he does. He's done way more off the field than he has on the field, if you ask me. And that's something that, like, Ari taught me. Like, you just got to talk to players differently. Like for example, like
humans,
like Juice. Yeah. Like Juice doesn't mind getting yelled at, but like someone maybe like, or a Jaffa doesn't mind getting yelled at, but like someone maybe like a me. If you yell at me, I'll hear it, but it's not going to...
I says that about Islander boys.
Yeah, it's not going to communicate the same way.
Yeah.
So he taught me, like, you got to talk to certain people. And it was hard sometimes because sometimes, you just yell at everyone, but then you got to realize no. But if you're too nice to people, like if you give like someone like a Juice an inch, he's going to take a mile.
Yeah.
Like so you got to balance it, and he taught me that balance.
Yeah.
And he also taught me the balance of don't get too close to your players, because especially like because it was my first year.
There needs to be boundaries.
Especially because it was my first year. Like, he's like, don't get too close to players. Because, like, I remember one time we were in Melbourne for a tournament, and we did, like, we went to play bowling. And we played bowling, and then the team asked us, let's go get some dinner. He's like, no, it's all good. We'll do our own thing. And he's like, always have that good balance of being close but not close enough.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, you just never know what's going to happen with coaching. So always keep a balance. And I've tried to do that. There has been families that I have got close to with coaching, but I would have gotten close to them without basketball. With basketball, basketball was just the
catalyst.
Just a catalyst. But Ari taught me a lot, and I'm still coaching to this day, which is great.
So you've been taught all these things by BMAC, Ari, other coaches, other players.
Yep.
So last year, you apply for... Oh, sorry, you don't apply.
No.
You don't apply for the Div 2 gig. Plans for the Div 2 coach fall through.
Yep.
And then you get the call up. What was that like?
It was something that I always wanted to do.
Expected?
No, it wasn't. Yep. Because, look, the way I look at it, Youth League's still under 23s. And at that time, when they asked me to do it, I would just turn 24.
Yeah.
So I was like...
You're 1 year removed.
Yeah. 1 year... I'd like 2 to 3 years removed.
What? Yeah.
So still pretty young, because they bumped up Youth League age after.
But compared to coaches, some coaches are 60.
Some coaches are old, like, so it was different. So I didn't expect it. But Robbie said to me, "Look, if you want it,
it's yours."
At the time, he was like, "I can get it for you. You can get it." And at the time, I wasn't going to coach. I had enough of it. I just needed a break. But that gig I always wanted, and it was hard because I was going to now coach players that I played with in Youth League at Hills, and it was kind of Juice said to me, "Mate, you got to take it. Like, you just got to take it." And the way I looked at it, Hills, like, for me, I thought, just from looking at from the outside in, I thought that Div 2 always got fucking left like in the dust. I always thought that was like the ugly stepchild or something like that.
I think I can attest to that.
Yeah, like I think it was just always...
You were on court 6.
Yeah, but
You know, some people didn't even know you had a game. Sometimes there'd be a Facebook event, and you guys wouldn't even be on
the fucking thing,
like,
or it'd be in the fine print. So I always thought that we were like an afterthought, and I didn't like that. So I was like, you know what, I can change that from the inside. So I was like, yep, I'll take the gig. It was great. It was a great gig. I was able to recruit players from Div 1 Youth League to come play Div 2. And that was the first time I think Hills have ever seen where players want to play for Division 2.
Yeah.
Like Hoogie, Division 1 player, probably would have played ABA if he took a basketball as serious as he could.
If he had time.
If he had time, right? He's playing Div 2 Youth League. Like, and then you got fucking Juice, who's a high up coach playing Div 2 Youth League. I got under 18s Division 1 Premier boys that didn't play, coming to play Youth League. You know, I got all these people.
You got kids like Kai, Josh Lorente,
all these people
super skilled
that should be in Div 1 at other clubs and would be, but they're playing Div 2.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, and it was something that I really enjoyed doing. And you know,
that's your first actual head coaching gig in the senior competition.
Yeah, senior, first ever head coach senior.
How's the teething issues?
It was different. It was different where I tried to coach it, like I was trying to coach it where it wasn't me.
Yeah,
and like
to be fair, the season before we kind of didn't touch on.
Yeah,
we had a COVID season of under 14.
We had another 14.
So the jump was half a COVID season of under 14 Div 3.
Yeah.
So some would say one of the were just
possibly 12 threes is the highest.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Then 14s.
14 threes, didn't even get to do any finals or anything. No. We had a chance to win it, but didn't get it.
We were one game out of Div 2.
Well, there you go. And then next gig you get after lockdown, Div 2 Youth League.
Yeah, so
to start with, pretty tough.
Mate, it was a weird get-go, and then the hardest part was finding that balance between friends and a coach.
Yeah.
And I started to get the balance at the end of the season, or I started to get better at it. But it was just hard, and it was just like, it was different. And I put too much of an expectation on us from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because talent-wise, I thought we could win the comp, and I still believe that to this day. If we ever clicked, we could have got there. But I just put too much pressure on us. I'm like, boys, we're going to win the comp, but we got to do these things first. We're like, now I'm just like, boys, we just got to be better every day. We just got to be consistently better, getting better.
I think,
and wherever we land, we land.
Yeah, because I think because you have such high expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
That just adds pressure for yourself.
Absolutely.
And then that seeps into the team.
Yeah.
And that's probably the last thing you want, but that's just what happens.
Yeah. And now looking at it, hopefully if I get a gig doing something, which I would expect I would, there's just going to be no pressure on the boys.
Yeah. What are you doing differently for your next gig then?
I'm from the get-go, I'm trying to make it basketball-wise, but I'm trying to make it where they learn other lessons from basketball. So they can take life lessons from basketball and put it into life. And obviously I want to win the comp. At the end of the day, there's nothing more I want badly in this world at this time is to get a banner and keep it hanging at Hills for the rest of for the rest of eternity.
I want a girlfriend.
That is something that I want. I need it. It's not even so, and I'm trying to manifest that. I'm trying to build that every year, and I want to get it so bad. So what I'm trying to tell the boys is that's our goal, right? That's what we want.
That's the North Star.
That's the North Star. But this is the path we've got to take, and we just got to be like this. We don't have to be up and down. We just got to be consistently grinding, going up and up, and making it fun for the boys, making it where I feel that I'm a bit of a player's coach because every coach I had, like a BMA, he's the definition of a player's coach. I'm going to make it where I put responsibility on the players where, all right, boys, we're going to do this for training, but after training, I want you guys, we have to organise something, players only. You guys got to go communicate, or we got to do certain things that build team culture. And I think Penrith Panthers, even though I'm a Penrith fan, but they document it, going on bush walks or like bush hikes and shit, going on army drills, it just makes the culture better and it makes it a tougher team.
It's just shared adversity. It's like when you're at school. When you hate a teacher, you can make friends with anyone because you can just talk about how much you hate a teacher.
Yeah, so
or love a teacher, or whatever.
Yeah, so it's just that's what I'm trying to do. And like I think, like the team. If I get the team I want, like we're going to be a young team, and we're going to be a team where it's a bit different. It's like it's all these boys are coming into youth league, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's going to be a good challenge for those youth league boys, and I'm just looking forward to the challenge of what I can build in youth league and building the culture, building the different types of building the way you should be a senior player.
Yeah, because I think
Being
this season
I went on a tangent there.
Yeah,
But
I think this season you kind of taught yourself what the processes are.
Yeah.
Of how to actually be the coach you want to be.
Yeah.
And then therefore be...
like for me, I'm not putting any pressure on the boys. Like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to tell the boys that I fucking badly want I badly want a banner. But like, what are you playing sport for if you're not in it to win it?
Yeah.
Like
we all have that competitive... once you play a sport, we're all... Whether it's footy, soccer, we all have a shared competitiveness.
Absolutely.
So,
and then for me, like now I look at it as like, well, am I in it to have fun and win it? Am I in it to be in it? Or am I in it to fucking win it? Like, and there's nothing better than winning. But the thing is, winning's fun.
Yeah, very Conor McGregor, not here to take part, here to take over.
Winning's fun.
Yeah.
Winning's fun. And winning solves things. But the thing is, you can still have fun losing. Because I had fun losing with Youth League Div 2.
I love losing.
I had fun losing. But I think...
You win or you learn. No losing.
But I think it's just like... It's just going to build so much more. Like if we win the comp, say Hills win Youth League, any Youth League, right? It's just going to make those players better, but it's going to make our club better.
Yeah.
It's going to make our club better because it's going to build better talent.
Yeah.
And it's going to make us into a better thing.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we need to, as a club at Hills, we need to build. We need to build pathways. We need to build players. Like I've got a kid coming, I'll keep my name. He's messaged me. He asked me to come train him because he wants to get better. That's what we need. We need that. We need people to fucking really get this going.
Yeah.
So, winning the battle would be good for us, but it'd be good for the club.
To tie it all together, really, coaching, at the end of the day, you could be coaching footy, but you'd still be wanting to instill the same values.
I could be coaching any sport.
Yeah.
Any
sport.
So,
what do you reckon coaching over the past, 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years. How has that made you a better person?
Yeah, it's made me a better person because it's kind of realised that all I want to do in life is help people and make people feel better and give them ways to do it. And it's also built like how to make relationships with people or how to better yourself. Like with coaching, like I've realised now I want to do something in the mental health capacity. I'm passionate about that and I like helping people through that, and hopefully I can do something within sport and mental health. That would be kiddies. That would be the goal. But I just think that like with coaching, it's just learnt that like you can really change people's perspective and lives, and by just being a good person to them. And like BMAC did that for me, and I got told by a kid that I've done that for him, and it's just like it gives you this sense of feeling and pride, and like it's just hard to put the words, but like you just want to chase that feeling.
Yeah,
it's like just being better as a person, being better myself. That's just all I want to do, really, and just being better.
Yeah,
just bettering people as coaches. I think that's better, and people can remember teachers and stuff, but I think like for me, especially in sport, I remember my coaches.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought. I was actually going to bring that up. It's why I love coaching. Why we related as coaches and wanted to coach together was we want to help people at the end of the day, like that, and that's what it is. And the term changing lives is a very deep and meaningful one. But at the end of the day, I think that's what you do.
Yeah,
and I think that's why some days you'll be like, fuck coaching. Like, don't want to go to Wollongong on a... Wollongong's right. Shout out to Bailey.
But for me, that's never been a thing where I don't want to coach. For me, it's never been a thing.
I've heard you on some days. It's very stressing. It's a very stressing thing. Yeah. But yet
Juniors is the one.
Yeah.
Where like, I just don't want to get up on a Sunday.
You come back to it because the pros of... I'm making a connection. Say with like one of your best mates, Chris Kader. He's a father to people that you've coached before.
Yeah.
And you've made a lifelong connection. Yep. You'll be family friends with the kids for forever, and you'll be an influence to them.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. It's not about how well they bounce a ball or whatever.
No, fuck no. Like I don't think they're playing basketball anymore, but I'm still going to be friends with their family.
Exactly.
I'm still going to be friends with Chris forever, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
you're in a position where you can shape their lives and you can teach them about patience.
Like
you can teach them about teamwork. That's just things you...
Like Joseph's like, I think I'm going to drop out. I'm like, do not drop out. Whatever you do,
drop out school.
Yeah, he's like, I want to do carpentry. I'm like, bro, you can do carpentry for the rest of your life.
I bet you have no idea how much that one little thing might mean to him, being like, no, don't do it. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. Just go through it, work out. You work out what you want to, because you work out what you want to do, and you're doing something you fucking hate. Yeah. So go to school, like, that's what I mean.
He can work for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You can't go to 11, 12 up again.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. Literally can't.
That's just an example. But yeah. Just helping people is the big thing I like doing. And it's fun. It's like it's a good enjoyment.
Yeah.
So like I think like it's kind of like social work, youth work, shit like that. Like I just love doing it. I like making people happy and having a smile on their face.
So what would your advice be to someone listening that wants to coach? What would your advice be to them?
If you're gonna do it, you can't half-ass it. You gotta do it because you love it. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it, and don't.
That's probably just with anything in life.
Don't do it if you lose the joy for it, or don't do it if you feel like you have to do it because you want to do it. Like do it because coaching is the most rewarding thing I think you could do as a person in sport. Like,
or just like helping, just giving back
because you're helping people, you're communicating with people, but it gives you more than what you take from what you're giving. Like you get more than what you give.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like we talked before the podcast about questions I would ask, and a question I love to ask people are what the love languages are. Are you familiar with love language?
I remember you saying what they are. Yeah, like for me, it'd probably be gift giving or giving advice.
Well, gift giving is a big one for you, but so out of the 5, there's physical touch, physical intimacy, quality time, acts of service, gift giving, and forgot the other one. But just to summarize and all, it really seems like quality time and acts of service is your thing, because with coaching, with basketball, with your friendship group, you're always there for people.
Yeah.
Always there for people. So out of your 20, how many years?
25 now.
Out of your 25 years.
That sounds bad.
You're young, brother. Out of your 25 years, people listening, what are the main takeaways from your life that you can share with other people in terms of advice? And
don't waste time. I wasted too much time in my life, and it's kind of bitten me on the ass. I kind of just like 2-3 years where I just did enough. I just was working like coaching, but I wasn't really like working every day. So I was like cruising. Like don't waste time, because like now I'm paying the price for it. Like I'm gonna. Like some of my mates, they're buying houses, they're like getting their like life sorted together. Where it's going to take,
you feel like you need to kind of accelerate.
It's going to take me a couple of years to get to that stage because I just didn't put in the work. But just like if you just put in the work for anything that you do, like just do something to 100%. Whether that's mowing the lawn, or whether that's taking a walk, going for a run. Just do maximum effort and just don't waste your time, because time's too valuable. Like because what happens tomorrow, like end of the day, like something could happen tomorrow where life can get taken away. So like, I want to leave this life where I've, hopefully coached at a high level, worked within a professional sporting club.
So
shit like that.
Yeah, before we finish, I just wanted to do a little quick fire then.
Yeah.
You're talking, what's your life look like in 5 years?
University degree done, working in a professional sporting club as either a mental health wellness coach officer or on a coaching staff with someone, and then this lanes thing, hopefully this can build into something where I can get podcasts, high profile people to come on the podcast.
I'll do a part 2 about all lanes.
Like I could do like that. But working in a pro club doing that, and then just like hopefully making like 6 to 7 figures. Like there's no pathway for me to do that, but there's opportunities for me to get.
Where are you living?
Hopefully living with either my missus at the time, which is
hello, Mrs. Sultana.
I don't have one, but we'll
be listening to this in 5 years, so it'll be cute.
Or living with some of my mates, maybe you, maybe Zip.
No thanks.
Kidding. Maybe we can move out to the eastern suburbs or the north, something like that. I think that would be cool. I think it'd be a cool experience too. Yeah. So hopefully, like I've been moved out by then. Wouldn't want to be like my brother, 28, still living at home.
Shout out to him.
Yeah,
just a quick little dig there.
Yeah, he's a bit of a different breed, that cat.
Yeah,
him and Skip. So I wouldn't. That's what I wouldn't want to be. Yeah. And they're not going to listen to this anyway. But no. So I like living out, moving out, living a happy life. Yeah. Nothing that ties me down that I can't do anything I don't want to do. So that would be it. Yeah.
So if your life was a movie or a book, for the next question, if your life was a movie or book, what would the title be?
Jeez Louise.
There's no right answer.
Howdy doody? No, I'm joking.
Can be if you want.
No, I don't know. Something like I don't know. Something that's more than what the eye sees. Like, don't judge it. Something like that. It's like it's just different. Yeah, different types of things.
Yeah. If that's the case, then what would the chapter of your life be called? Of this life, yeah. Of this chapter. Sorry.
Changing. I
said that wrong.
Like a changing of the guard. Like realizing.
Oh, you're in a transitional period.
Like realizing that I've just wasted time, haven't done anything for my life. Like Mossy's got his life on track compared to me. Like he's got a house, got got a kid in a dog. Like he's got.
I will say there is a saying: don't compare your life.
No, today, but like just the way I look at it, he's ticking life goals faster than me.
Yeah,
and I should be doing that already. So like trying to get into a consistent pace of like I'm just not like his life goals are different to mine.
No, exactly.
Yours will be different to me. Duffy's will be different. Duffy's is different to everyone's.
Yeah, I'm a big compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today.
Yeah, like this time last year, I had no job. I was not going to coach. I had nothing. I wasn't doing podcasts. Now, doing a podcast, I'm coaching. I'm trying to get a job. I had a job working with the AFL. I'm doing uni. I'm back at university doing that. I'll finish my first year at the end of this year. So I'm doing so much more than I was last year.
Yeah, you are in a transitional
So like from last year to this year, I'm doing things. I'm actually having a crack in my life, investing money, doing shit. So I'm happy. I'm happy doing that, and I'm not making heaps of money right now, and I'm trying to. But fuck, at the end of the day,
you're never money driven.
No, if I'm bettering myself, it's gonna
invest in yourself.
This is it's like a poison pill contract in the NBA.
Yeah,
it's going to be a back end payment fulfillment. Dividend. Yeah. It's going to pay off dividends in the end.
It's a long term game.
100.
Yeah,
and hopefully that long term's in 5 years. In 5 years, if I'm living in Manly or Bondi, fucking cruising in a fucking hopefully a Mustang or something like that, that would be life. But like not materialist, but just making something of my life.
Yeah,
basically what Ice's life's like. If I could do that, I'd be happy.
Speaking of Ice, what are you grateful for?
Grateful for friends of my old man. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for those people in my life. I don't have a lot of people in my life that I consider, I'm grateful for, but I'm like grateful for you, Moss. Like sometimes Zippy, because sometimes he can be a pest. But nah, Zip, like Tay, all these people, like all my friends, they know who they are. I'm grateful for them, and just like grateful to be able to do anything I want in life. Like I'm able to do anything I want. Like I'm able to. There's no pigeonhole with me. I'm not tied down to anything. I'm grateful for that I don't have anything that I can't do. Like say tomorrow, freedom. Like say tomorrow, I want to go to fucking Newcastle, drive up there. I can just do that. Like I got the freedom to do that. So that just having freedom and my friends and family. Yeah. I'm not really close to my family. Like my friends are my family, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm grateful for my friends. Just grateful to be free.
Well, freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Pretty good. Freedom Day was yesterday.
Yeah, it was. It was a good day yesterday. Got some shoes. So. Kiddies.
Oh, what shoes?
Air Maxes, +3s, yes, basically TNs. But I don't know if I'll keep them or not. I don't know if I'm going to keep them. But I bought them because they're a little bit of a hypey, pricey product. So maybe I have to resell them and invest in another pair of shoes.
Yeah. Any last thank yous for the listeners?
No, I would like to thank you, Coach, for doing this. This is your idea. You wanted me to do it, and I think it's good.
Ideas, man.
I think it's good that people are going to see a different side of me, a different type of perspective.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a really cool idea. It's gone for 90 minutes, which is a long time. I don't know how many people are going to listen to it the whole way. I got to go to work. I don't know how many people are going to listen to this for the whole way.
The real ones will.
But I am grateful. I do appreciate this. But yeah.
Sick.
I love it, Coach.
Happy birthday, Salty.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers for the potty. I got to go to work.
You going to outro it?
Huh? What's the outro?
Anything you want, bro.
Anything you want. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Lanes Podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe all the content that's coming your way. Hit us up on Instagram @LanesMedia_, all under capitalized letters. Thanks for listening, guys, but most importantly, have a great day.